Right, so I don't even know where to start this, but I feel like I need to post it somewhere just to process what the hell happened. And maybe as a warning too, because I wouldn't wish this shit on anyone. I haven't slept in 3 days. Every time I close my eyes, I see her face again. I smell the blood. I hear the sounds. I know how this sounds. Just another junkie story, right? Another idiot buying shit off the dark web and getting more than they bargained for. Trust me, I get it. But this went way, way beyond anything I thought was even possible. I wasn't just some thrill seeker or druggie trying to get high off mystery pills. I had reasons, at least I thought I did. It started about 5 weeks ago. I'd just gotten fired from my warehouse job. Distribution center for Target in Tacoma, Washington, caught me on camera slipping a pack of Apple AirPods into my hoodie. I was going to flip them to cover my overdue rent, and of course I got caught. No second chances, fired on the spot. That same week my girlfriend left, said I was turning into someone she didn't recognize. She took the dog and dipped. I couldn't even blame her. I was falling apart. I was already drinking way too much, spending entire nights doom-scrolling Reddit and watching old live leak videos. Started getting into these weird corners of the internet, gore forums, cartel dumps, underground chat rooms. Not for any specific reason, it just made me feel something. Numb maybe, or maybe it just reminded me that the world's always been fucked and I was just catching up. Eventually I got invited to this private Discord server called Red Pill Pharmacy. No idea how I got in. I think someone dropped a link on a thread I was reading about fentanyl analogues. At first, it just looked like any sketchy dealer server. Lots of usernames like Oxypope and Narco Dealer 420, offering shit like pressed pills, counterfeit Adderall, DMT cartridges. But then there was this locked channel at the bottom called Number Experiences. It had a padlock emoji next to it and required VIP status. Of course, that caught my eye. Long story short, after a few interactions, one of the admins, this guy with the username Peel Theskin, DM'd me. Said I seemed like someone with an open mind. Asked if I'd be interested in something that wasn't technically on the market yet. Called it Thera X. Said it was a sensation-enhancing synthetic compound with emotionally reactive properties. Whatever the fuck that means. I was half drunk when I agreed. It wasn't even about the drug. It was the mystery, the danger of it. I felt like I had nothing left to lose. He asked for an address and a payment of $300 in Bitcoin. I used what little I had left from my savings and boom, the package was marked for delivery. 2 days later, a nondescript manila envelope showed up. No return address. Just my name, handwritten, and a Washington state zip code that wasn't even mine. Inside was a tiny vacuum-sealed bag with 5 black gel capsules. That was it. No instructions, no branding, nothing. I took the first one that night. Now, before I go any further, I want to be real with you. I've done shit before. LSD, MDMA, mushrooms, even a little heroin when I was younger. So I know what a come-up feels like. But this wasn't that. This was wrong from the start. About 30 minutes in, my body started to buzz like it was vibrating just under the skin, but instead of euphoria or warmth or any of that usual stuff, I felt like I was being watched. Not in the paranoid sense. I mean literally, like something inside me was observing everything I was thinking. I know that sounds insane, but that's the only way I can describe it. Then the walls started breathing, not melting like with acid. I mean pulsing like they were made of skin. My bathroom mirror stretched. I swear to God it stretched outward, like someone was pushing against it from the other side. I couldn't move. I just stood there, paralyzed, watching as this thing, this shadowy face, started to push through the glass. But the worst part? I recognized it. It looked like my ex. Her eyes were crying, but her mouth was smiling, and I could hear her whispering my name over and over. Jared! Jared! Jared. I woke up 6 hours later on the bathroom floor, naked. There was blood all over the tile, but I couldn't find any cuts on me. My phone was missing, my laptop was open, and there was a 14-minute video playing on VLC called Feed1.move. I've never wanted to erase something from my brain so badly in my entire life. It showed me, but not really me. It was like watching myself through a fisheye lens. My eyes were fully black, and I was crawling on all fours like some rabid fucking animal. There was a girl in the room. She looked young, maybe 17. She was tied to a chair, screaming.
I don't want to write the rest. I can't. But it wasn't special effects. It wasn't fake. It wasn't some hallucination. I know what I saw. I did those things. Somehow, I threw up until I was dry heaving. I don't even remember deleting the file. I just know it was gone when I checked again. I swore I wouldn't take another one. But that night, I found another capsule on the floor near the baseboard heater. It was like it was calling to me. I know how that sounds, like I'm psychotic. But listen, I've never felt anything like the compulsion that hit me in that moment. I took it, and that's when the real nightmare began. Everything after that night is a blur of blood, screams, flashing red and blue lights, and a motel room with duct tape stuck to the walls. I still don't know whose body that was. I keep having flashes, someone's tongue on the floor, a tooth embedded in the headboard, my own fingernails missing. And now the cops are asking questions. There's been news coverage, a missing girl. Her name was Tessa Bryant, 17 years old, last seen 2 blocks from my apartment. Her face is everywhere now. Posters, social media. Even the gas station TV at 7-Eleven was playing her story. I swear to God I didn't know her, I swear. But they found a piece of her hoodie under my bed, and they haven't arrested me yet. But I know they're watching. I see the same dark grey Ford Fusion parked across the street every night. I don't know what was in those capsules. I don't know what they turned me into. But I have 2 left, and part of me, the part I hate, wants to take them, just to know what's really on the other side. If you haven't read the first part, just don't. Seriously, I'm not trying to be cryptic or edgy, and this isn't a game or some ARG bullshit. This is me, writing this in a Motel 6 off Pacific Avenue, 3:47 a.m., sitting on a stained mattress with a deadbolt I jimmied shut, using a butter knife because I know someone was in my room while I was gone. I've been on the run since last Friday. After I posted part 1, I left my apartment. Something about seeing her face all over social media, the girl, Tessa, was just too much. I hadn't slept more than 2 hours in 3 days. I'd started hearing my phone buzz when it wasn't even on, phantom vibrations, and I know I heard her voice through my neighbor's Alexa speaker. It was like a broken whisper. I remember you. I took the battery out of my phone and smashed it with a hammer, tossed it in a storm drain behind a Burger King. I haven't used any social media since. No Reddit, no Discord. I'm writing this on an old Toshiba laptop I found in the dumpster behind the Value Village, public Wi-Fi at a Wendy's. Don't ask how I got power. I've been resourceful. But last night, that's when shit escalated. I was crashing in this abandoned RV I found parked behind a storage lot near Spanaway. Didn't belong to me, obviously, but it was empty. It smelled like mildew and rat shit, but it had a couch. That's a win when you haven't had a bed in a week. Around 11 p.m, I heard something slam against the side of the RV. I froze, thought it was cops or someone trying to rob me. I had a box cutter in my hand, shaking so hard I almost dropped it. Then I heard a voice. It wasn't outside, it was inside the RV. It said, "You're still not full." I whipped around and there was no one there, but the second I turned, the door behind me creaked open like someone had just walked out. I bolted, didn't even grab my bag, just ran barefoot down the gravel road until my soles were torn open and bleeding. I ended up at this all-night diner called King's Hat. Some off-brand 24-hour joint with burnt coffee and a cracked jukebox playing the same goddamn Elvis song on repeat.
I sat in a booth, shivering, ordered hash browns and water just to have an excuse to stay. The waitress, Sandra, looked like she'd seen shit. Late 50s, heavy smoker, weird burn scar running down her neck. The kind of person who doesn't ask questions. I think she knew I was strung out. Around 2 a.m., a man walked in. I've never seen anyone like him before. Skinny, tall as hell, maybe 6 feet 5 inches, with these long, thin fingers and a smile that didn't move his eyes. Wore a tattered old trench coat and leather gloves, even though it wasn't cold. He didn't order anything, just sat 3 booths behind me and stared. Not in a subtle way either. Full eye contact, like he knew me, like we'd spoken before. Then he stood up, walked over and dropped something on my table. It was a tiny black envelope. Same texture as the one the pills came in. He didn't say a word, just tapped it once with his gloved finger and walked out. Inside were 2 more pills. Not the same ones though, these were white. Same gel capsules, but they glowed faintly, like there was something alive inside. And underneath them was a tiny piece of torn notebook paper. It just said, "Take 1 before sunrise, or she comes back hungry." I don't know why, but I listened. I walked to the back alley behind the diner and swallowed 1 of them. I don't even remember making the decision. It was just like instinct. Like I had no control anymore. That's when time broke. I don't know how else to put it. I blinked, and suddenly I wasn't behind the diner anymore. I was in this dark, wet hallway. No lights, just this low, rhythmic thud sound, like meat hitting concrete. Over and over and over, the walls were covered in human hair, long, wet strands of it hanging like moss. The floor was slick, and I realized I was barefoot again. Except this time, I could feel things moving beneath my feet. Squirming, popping, like insects the size of my fists. I walked, or I think I did. Everything was pitch black except for the occasional flicker of a fluorescent light that revealed flashes, faces, not people, faces, like they were embedded in the wall, mouths stretched open, eyes bulging, screaming. The sound was muffled, like underwater. Then I saw her, Tessa, naked, covered in blood that wasn't hers. Standing at the end of the hallway with her head tilted sideways, eyes rolling in opposite directions. Her jaw was broken, hanging low like it was dislocated, and her tongue was dragging on the floor, still whispering. She took a step forward, and the hallway shrank. I swear to God it compressed like a vice. Every step she took, the walls got closer, and I realized I wasn't walking, I was being pushed, like the hallway itself was forcing me toward her. I blacked out before she touched me. When I came to, I was back behind the diner. But something was wrong. There was blood on my hands, not like before, and this wasn't mine. It was fresh, sticky, and I had a chunk of something in my pocket. I reached in and pulled it out. It was a tooth, a human molar. Still had part of the gum attached, and wrapped around it was a piece of hair, long, blonde. I ran back into the diner, hysterical, looking for the waitress, for anyone. But the place was empty, lights off, clock frozen at 3:33 a.m., no sign of life, no sign anyone had ever been there. I ran back outside and realized my feet weren't bleeding anymore. No cuts, no bruises, no dirt. Clean. But the tooth was still in my pocket. And now it's happening again. The whispers. The shadows under the motel door. Something crawled across the ceiling 20 minutes ago. I don't even care if this gets taken down. If Reddit mods delete it. I needed to write it. I needed someone to know. There's still 1 pill left. And I don't think I'm going to be able to stop myself. If you're still here, I'm guessing something's wrong with you too. Maybe you're just curious. Maybe you're looking for a thrill. Maybe you're like me, and you've already seen too much to go back to normal. Whatever it is, you need to know this. I took the last pill. And I think I killed someone. I just don't know who yet. After I posted part 2, I stayed at that Motel 6 one more night. I blocked the vents, pushed the dresser in front of the door, tied a belt around the closet handle just in case. I was shaking like a detoxing addict, sweating through my hoodie. My mouth was dry as fuck and my gums were bleeding. No idea why. I kept hearing this high-pitched whining in my ears like tinnitus, but worse. Like something was trying to get in through the sound itself. I kept seeing her, Tessa. Not full-on apparitions or ghost movie crap, just flashes, reflections in the motel TV when it was off. Her eyes staring from behind the mini fridge. Once, her hand reaching out of the fucking shower drain. I didn't sleep. Couldn't. And around 4:45 a.m., I gave up. I pulled the last pill from my sock. I'd hidden it there because I didn't trust myself. But I guess that didn't matter. It didn't even taste like anything, just slid down. 10 minutes in, I started bleeding from my nose. No build-up, no pressure, just straight up, gushing red all over the bedspread. It felt like I was hemorrhaging from the inside out. My ears popped. Then everything went black. When I came to, I was in the back seat of a car. Not my car. I haven't owned one in 2 years. This was a beat-up Dodge Charger. Smelled like menthols and old leather. I was soaked in sweat. My hoodie was gone. I was wearing a shirt I didn't recognize. Dark blue, blood-stained, torn near the collar. My jeans were stiff. When I looked down, I realized why. There was blood all over my thighs, dried, flaked, blackening. And next to me, on the seat, was a Polaroid. I didn't want to pick it up, but I did. It was me, standing in a hallway, holding a knife, shirtless. My eyes were completely white, no pupils. And there was someone else in the photo, blurry in the corner. Looked like a man tied to a chair. I could only see the back of his head, but there was a lot of blood on the floor under him. It just said, then I noticed the car keys were still in the ignition. I was parked outside a house, middle of some sketchy residential street in Lakewood. 3-story home, boarded windows, yellowed porch light flickering like it was about to die. The kind of place that looks like it eats people. And here's the thing, I knew the house. I couldn't place it right away, but the more I stared, the more my brain started piecing it together. I'd seen it in the video, the one from my laptop, from part 1. It was the same wallpaper. Same staircase in the background. Same chipped railing, that was the house. I got out of the car, don't ask me why. Curiosity? Guilt? Whatever parasite was riding in my skull after taking those pills, I don't know. I just walked to the front door and found it cracked open. The smell hit me like a sledgehammer. Copper, Moldavian rot. Imagine a trash compactor filled with old meat and bleach. I almost puked. I had to hold my shirt over my nose. I stepped inside. It was dead silent, except for this low mechanical humming, like an old refrigerator or a busted AC unit. I followed it down the hall and found a door to the basement. Of fucking course it was the basement. The door wasn't locked. The second I stepped onto the top stair, the smell tripled. I could taste it. Something had died down there. Not recently either. This was deep decay. My vision started to blur. I took the steps one at a time, trying not to breathe. There was light down there, flickering, a single swinging bulb in the middle of the room. And what I saw, there were people. At least, I think they were people once. Now, not so much. Tied to chairs, duct tape around their heads, some missing fingers. One guy, I think it was a guy, had no eyelids, just 2 raw, wet orbs staring up at the ceiling, like he'd been like that for days. His jaw was wired shut with coat hangers. But they were alive, barely, and they were all looking at me. That's when I noticed the walls. Every inch was covered in Polaroids, just like the one I found in the car. Hundreds of them. Some had dates, some had names, some were just smeared in blood. Then I saw it. A photo pinned to the wall with a rusty nail. My face. But younger, way younger, like 13 or 14. I had a black eye in the picture. My lips were split. I was looking right at the camera, like I was begging for someone to save me. I have no memory of it. None. That's when I realized something way worse. This wasn't the first time. Whatever Thera X was, it didn't create the monster. It just peeled the skin off it, let it out, showed me what I really was underneath all the fake smiles and bullshit jobs and Tinder hookups. I have done this before, probably a lot more times than I can ever remember. And maybe I didn't need the pills. Maybe they just made it easier. I ran out of that house. I didn't even know where I was going. Just ran down the street barefoot like some lunatic. People looked at me from their porches like I was a fucking zombie. I probably was. Eventually, I made it to an AM/PM. Locked myself in the bathroom and washed the blood off my hands with pink soap and paper towels until my skin was raw. And now I'm here. Same laptop, new location, another stolen Wi-Fi signal. There's no more pills, no more hallucinations, no more hiding from what I am. Someone's missing, someone's dead, probably more than one. And I'm going back to that house. I have to know the truth. I have to know what I did. If you've read this far, you're either just as broken as I am or you think this is a joke. I don't care which. I'm writing this now because it's all coming to a fucking end and I want someone, anyone, to know what happened. Not to clear my name, not for forgiveness, just because I want this out. Before it disappears like everything else. It's 6:14 a.m. I haven't slept in 2 days. My left hand is bandaged in a dirty towel and duct tape because I stabbed it with a steak knife 3 hours ago. Not to die, just to feel something normal. All I felt was wet heat and an instant of clarity that didn't last long. I went back to the house. I know I said I would. I walked for miles in the dark, through neighborhoods that didn't feel real, like the houses were watching me. There was a gas station on Pacific that still had Halloween decorations up in March, paper skeletons sagging from mold, a dead pigeon flattened under the ice machine. I got to the house around 3:30 a.m., same as before, same flickering porch light. The front door was open like it had been waiting for me. I didn't hesitate this time. I walked right in. The living room was different now. The walls had been stripped. No wallpaper, just rotting insulation and exposed nails. There were drawings everywhere, charcoal sketches, hundreds of them, maybe thousands, stapled to the beams and stacked in piles like old phone books. Every drawing was of me, not like portraits, number. These were sketches of me killing people. Me with my mouth stretched open, swallowing someone's head. Me with knives growing out of my spine. Me in a bathtub full of teeth. In the center of the room was a chair. And on that chair was a man tied up with zip ties, duct tape over his mouth, beaten to hell, black eyes, blood crusted down his face. I recognized him. His name was Devon. He used to sell coke outside the Jack in the Box, near my old place. We'd smoked together once. He gave me a free bump in 2022 during a snowstorm just because he said I looked dead behind the eyes. I hadn't seen him in over a year. He was crying when he saw me, trying to scream through the tape. His whole body was shaking like he was convulsing. At first, I thought he was afraid of me. I mean, why wouldn't he be? But then I realized his eyes weren't on me. They were looking behind me. I turned around and I saw myself. Not a reflection, not a hallucination. It was me, same face, same shitty stubble, same scar under the jaw from when I cut myself shaving drunk. But different somehow, cleaner, smiling too much, skin too smooth, eyes too clear, like someone had perfected me. I don't know what it was. Some byproduct of the drug, something inside me made real. It walked toward me and said, "You were never supposed to wake up." Voice exactly like mine. Then it grabbed Devon by the hair and ripped his scalp off like it was paper. The scream that came out of him wasn't human. It sounded like a dying animal in a meat grinder. He thrashed until the chair tipped, and he hit the floor so hard I heard his shoulder break. And this thing, this version of me, started eating him. Not with its mouth, with its hands, like his skin was clay and it was molding it into itself. Every time it pushed a chunk into its chest, it grew, got taller, more refined, like it was absorbing him. I couldn't move. I just stood there, watching. Then it turned back to me and said, "One more and I can take your place." I snapped. I ran into the kitchen, grabbed the first thing I saw, a cast iron skillet, and smashed it into its face. It didn't flinch, just laughed. Not even a fake evil laugh. It was genuine amusement, like I was a toddler throwing a tantrum. That's when I stabbed my hand, because part of me thought maybe if I bled enough, whatever link the pills had created would sever. I don't know where that idea came from. It felt like instinct. It dropped the body and lunged at me. I swear to God, its face started changing mid-run, nose stretching, teeth lengthening, like it was adapting, evolving. We fought, more like I got thrown around like a rag doll. It slammed me into the drywall so hard I saw stars. I blacked out for a second and woke up with its knee on my chest and its hands on my throat. It whispered, "You opened the door." I just walked through it. I grabbed a shard of broken mirror and jammed it into its eye. It didn't scream, it just smiled wider. I crawled out of that house bleeding and half blind, and that thing didn't follow me. It didn't need to, because I realized something. It wasn't trying to kill me. It was waiting, watching, growing stronger with every body I brought it, every hallucination, every sin. I fed it over and over with those pills, with my thoughts, with my guilt, and now it's out. I walked 4 miles to the nearest hospital and told them I was mugged. They stitched my hand, called the cops. I told them my name was Derek, no ID, no phone. They didn't push it, said the cops would circle back, but I know they won't, because when I turned on the news in the waiting room, the headline read, "Body found in abandoned home, tied to multiple disappearances. Police suspect a serial killer is at large. No suspect has been named." The footage showed the house. And then it showed me, smiling, standing next to a uniformed officer, waving. They think he's me. He is me, at least the version they want. So that's it. The pills? They're not drugs, they're keys. Keys to something that lives in the blank spaces between memories. Something that wears your skin better than you ever could. I opened the door. I took the pills. I let him out. And now I'm nothing, just a glitch in the system, a ghost with skin. No one's looking for me. No one cares, because the world already has its Jared now. He's going to thrive. He's going to be loved. He's going to kill. I'm posting this from a stolen Chromebook at a Greyhound terminal. There's a bathroom stall with a belt hanging off the hook. I think I'm going to go in there soon. I just wanted to hit submit first. If you get a message from me, if you see me in real life, don't say anything. Just run, because it's not me anymore.